Hello and welcome to Zelda Speedruns. Today we're pleased to bring you another No Major Glitches tournament match. Today we have Group E, Louie versus Andy. And on commentary today, I am pleased to be joined by Fricka22 and Rob J. Beasley. How you doing today, gentlemen?
Pretty good, thanks.
Fantastic.
Okay, so I don't know if you want to talk a little bit about the tournament while I change over. It looks like they both are readied up, so we should be able to start on time. But again, thank you very much, and I will talk to you later.
Yeah, so I can start it off quickly. So this is Group E, Louie versus Andy. Louie being the 5th seed, Andy being the 12th seed. Louie has a pretty good PB, 124.21, and Andy's current PB is 125.10, which is a little misleading because Andy's pretty good at this game. He just hasn't ran NMG exclusively, so Andy can definitely bust out a 124 anytime.
Absolutely, too much time spent playing Randomizer.
Just waiting for the runners to ready up here. Should be starting here shortly. Yeah, I'm hoping for a really close matchup. This should be a very, very good game.
Yeah, absolutely. With Andy's potential to get a decent PB, they're both definitely 124 capable players. Hopefully we can see something close to that today.
Yeah, when I see Andy run the game, something kind of goofy usually happens towards the end, even if he's on pace. So this is kind of how the game is sometimes.
Yeah, for sure, there's no free PBs in this game. Gotta play to the end.
It would be kind of nice to see specific strats from Andy as we go through the run, mainly because obviously he mains rando, so he does rooms a little bit differently than what you would normally see in a typical NMG run. But the cool part is, even though it's differently, it's still super fast, so it's going to be very cool and different to see for sure.
Yeah, and though it's not a rando strat, I'm looking forward to him going for Cactus Dash.
Andy would be the one to pull out a Cactus Dash for sure.
I don't think I've ever seen him do a run without attempting it, so...
Yeah, I don't think it's verifiable if you don't do Cactus Dash, I'm pretty sure. So it looks like our countdown has begun, so we should be kicking off the run here in just a few seconds. I'm interested to see what the file names Andy gave Louie. Peepo Happy versus J-Con Style.
Two classics. Okay, here we go. Good luck to both runners.
Escape, everybody's favorite segment.
Yeah, always eventful. We'll see if they can pull out some 550s.
Yeah, honestly, anything below 6 minutes is a pretty darn good escape time. It really has just a lot to do with specific movement, a little bit of RNG reaction throughout, but it's pretty straightforward.
Yeah, there's no real room for any huge errors, so at most there'll be a few seconds behind the runners after escape, presumably.
Yeah, I mean, a couple specific rooms that may set the runners just slightly apart would be the ball and chain guard, which is kind of the first mini boss of the run, and then of course you have like the key rat RNG as well too, which could go south very quickly. Getting all the goods from the uncle. I always wondered what happened to the uncle. Like, he went to save the princess, and he went down the hole, and then he just gave up.
Yeah, it's shown at the end of the game that he's actually fine, so I don't know, just a coward, I guess.
He must have taken some pretty hard fall damage from that bush hole. You will see kind of a little bit of a goofy movement from these runners. It's actually called pumping. It is on purpose. And long story short, basically pumping is just as the runners are moving north and west, they're going to be pumping a different direction that they're walking, and that's just basically to reset Link's movement to get the chance to have his walking animation be a little bit faster. Since we don't have boots at this point, speedrunners have to do what they can do to try to be as fast as they can throughout the rooms.
Yeah, and pumping is the most important in the first couple of splits before we get the boots, and then the movement becomes a little simpler.
Yeah, I mean, pumping can be kind of tough too. You never want to do it if it compromises your movement, but honestly, pumping probably saves definitely less than 10 seconds throughout an entire NMG run, which is pretty hefty. Looks like we got good on the boom guard there. Looked like Andy may have clinked the chest with this boom, but both rooms going very well.
Yeah, both players still pretty much neck and neck, and maybe a screen behind.
Now the ball and chain guard can go south. Just depends on if Link clinks a sword on the ball and chain or they get hit. Obviously we don't have a lot of health at this point, and it looks like both runners doing very well on the ball and chain guard.
Yep, and nobody read the door text either.
That's always a tough one, because you want to get very close to that keyhole as you boom the big key, and sometimes you just move up a little bit too far and read the text. So basically we have rescued Zelda from the cell, and now we are just backtracking through the first part of Escape, and we're going to be making our way to the mantle that you can only push with Zelda and the lamp. And definitely no runners have ever forgotten the lamp at this point before. Definitely not me, but it is a funny thing that you cannot push the mantle without the lamp. And the lamp is actually in 3 spots throughout the start of this run. Inside of Link's house where you start, in a chest where the uncle is, and then of course in Zelda's cell. And we elect to get the lamp late in Zelda's cell because we want to get the boomerang first.
I think it's also the fastest chest containing lamp.
Yep.
Yeah, certainly having the boomerang equipped for free is a bonus as well.
Yeah, you can't go wrong with that. Both runners making their way to the mantle push. And in the back of Escape here, this is where we're going to see quite a bit of enemies. We got snakes and rats and bats and all that fun jazz. But the big thing about this portion of Escape is they have to be really quick with RNG reaction and what's going to happen with the enemies on the screen to try to alleviate some lost time.
Yeah, Louis got a bit bullied there in the snake hallway, but Andy was allowed a clean path through.
Looks like Louis, getting some pretty bad snake RNG, but it's just kind of what is expected out of the back half of Escape. It's always said, when you have a good first half of Escape, you have a bad back half of Escape, and vice versa. It's funny how it works out that way. Alright, both runners coming up on the key rat, see where it goes. Louis getting a fast rat while Andy is getting a... Ooh, messing up the boomerang with the key, but he got what we call a Seattle key rat, where it goes all the way up to the top left of the screen. Looked like Andy tried to do the diagonal boom just for a little bit faster of a Seattle key rat, and then ended up missing the key.
A pretty hot escape from Louis here.
Yeah, 551 is very, very quick.
And a 56 from Andy, no shame in that one.
Hey, I'll take a 56 all day. Now, the runners have the option to grab the chest here, which is going to be the Sanctuary Heart. It is the best safety in the game, and definitely something very good to get in a tournament run.
Yeah, not surprised to see Louis grab it. I think his PB has it, and he's going to be brave.
It looks like Andy is skipping the Saint card. I'm not sure if he's watching the restream or not, just to try to make up a few extra seconds on Louis. Right, so both runners making their way to the first Light World dungeon, which is Eastern Palace. And basically we're just going through a few Hyrule screens, a couple of guards here and there, and then an Octorok screen that we try to avoid damage. If we end up killing any of these Octoroks, it's not the worst thing in the world because we have a chance to advance the prize pack because the runners are looking to gather up a little bit of rupees beforehand.
Yep, the runners need at least 5 rupees from drops, but any extras are nice. They allow you to skip some rupees during the tree pull segment.
Yeah, they will be definitely looking to see if they can get a red rupee drop for sure before they finish Eastern Palace. It just makes things a little bit easier.
Yeah, and there are a ton of enemies that drop rupees in the palace, so it's not too hard to get that.
Looks like Andy making up a little bit of extra time in the overworld there.
Yep, Sankart skip obviously making a lot of that up, so yeah, pretty neck and neck again now.
You have to be a little bit careful here. There is a few opportunities for Andy to grab some hearts under some pots, which is good because coming soon, about halfway through the dungeon, we're going to be doing a big key deboost where we're actually going to be purposely taking damage from an enemy and from the anti-fairies that cover the pot switch. And the reason that we do that is because we don't want to have to kill every enemy in the room to disperse the anti-fairies to hit the switch, so we just do it fast.
Yeah, that damage boost is always very scary when you skip Sankart, and Andy is still down a heart here, so he'll be looking to grab another one somewhere else.
Yeah, there is an option for Andy to grab another heart in the dark key room here coming up on the right. But if not, he still should be okay. It'll leave him with a half a heart left after the big key room. Oh, Andy does opt to grab the heart. Smart play.
Yeah, I'm not surprised to see that. It means that he can afford to make a mistake in the damage boost now.
This room is actually pretty important timing-wise too. You can lose quite a bit of time here depending on the deboost that you get, the specific direction. Louis looks to get deboosted to the right, same with Andy, but still staying at the top. So very good room for both.
Yeah, and both of them over the course of this split have now found the 5 rupees they need, so should have no problems paying Kiki the monkey later on.
Alright, coming up on the notorious Gifted with Greenies room, which is going to be a dark room where we're going to have to kill a Igor on the right side to get a key to get into the next room. Sometimes those popos can have up RNG and kind of get in your way of your arrow throw, so both went very nicely for the runners. We'll see in the upcoming Popo room here, where there's quite a bit of enemies and 2 Igors. That's typically where some of the runners will see their extra rupee drops. So we'll see if either runner gets a good position on the red rupee or if it does drop.
Louis having a bit of bother in the Zelda Gamer room there. Falls slightly behind.
Yeah, it looks like the red rupee was an unfortunate position. The Armos fight, first boss, basically we're going to be firing arrows to the right, and then we're going to set up a quick kill. Oh, it looks like Louis going for the pinkish strat, nice. Louis messing up the quick kill while Andy pulls ahead a little bit. So in that last Armos, we actually set it up so it gets pre-hit. So it just needs 1 arrow to die, but if you end up missing that arrow, the last Armos will turn red, he'll regain full health, and then you'll have to use another 3 arrows to kill the boss.
Yeah, the last time I was just supposed to turn red all the time, but if you kill it fast enough after the next last one, you can skip that phase of the fight.
On the way to get our boots from the cowboy. Yes, that is a cowboy hat. Yeah, both runners have very, very good movement. They are definitely both top tier in this game and in this category. So we're seeing a lot of very, very good movement from both.
Yeah, and both players have their boots now, so the speed run truly begins. And we've seen our first spin speed already.
Spin speed is always a fun trick when you hit it your first try. But definitely can get frustrating. Basically, they just they hold their sword, they release their spin, and as they release their spin, they need to hit the A button or the dash button 1 frame after releasing the spin. It puts them in a super speed state, and it allows them to go super fast at dash speed, but without having to be worried about bonking anywhere, which is always pretty nice. Both runners are going for library spin speed as well.
Yeah, and both of them getting it pretty well too. It's pretty tight to save time with that spin speed, but they both did a good job.
Saving all the frames with the double spin speed in and out of the library. So both runners are now headed to the second Light World Palace, which is Desert Palace, now that they have the boots and the book. See Louie using a nice menu buffer to the book to avoid the water dash or the splashy dashy.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of that menu buffer. I always use that one.
Oh yeah, it's absolutely fantastic, and that's one thing you'll see from both of these runners today too. Is they specifically use their menu buffers basically to make it more important to see the position of Link, to see the pixels that they're on, and certain tricks. So they definitely use those menu buffers to their advantage.
Yeah, for sure, that's a big thing to learn. Like, you see beginners just sort of menuing wherever, but it's actually really useful to use menus in the right place to your advantage.
All right, Desert Palace. Basically, Desert Palace is pretty straightforward, just long corridors and hallways, and basically it's just kind of like an intro to your boots and how to use them, how far you can dash, things like that. But what the runners are going to be doing is they're going to be grabbing all the arrows that they can from the pots due to the Landmola's boss coming up, and grabbing some keys and getting the glove.
Yeah, Andy's in a very good spot for arrows. I actually wonder if he will skip one of the pots. He still gets to have 27 going into the boss if he does.
I think it's the second to the last arrow pot. Most runners will usually get that on the way back out of the cannonball room. Oh, Louie taking a bonk on the chest there.
Yeah, Andy does like that part. Okay, so he'll have full arrows.
Both runners looking good for their rupee count at this point as well.
Yep, there is an extra pot in the circle of pots there that you can grab with a blue rupee in it if you need it, but neither player does here.
And depending on how the boss goes in this dungeon, Andy is 5 arrows ahead, so he must have got an Igor arrow drop at the end of Eastern Palace, so that can definitely help him out depending on how the boss goes.
Yeah, he also saved some arrows by having the clean kill on armors, whereas Louie had to use some extra arrows.
It's like both runners going for Desert 2 spin speed, which can be pretty scary because in that super speed state, if you even touch a ledge, you will fly right off, and in this current position, if you were to fall off that edge, you would have to go up and open up Desert Palace again and start all over.
Yeah, you have to reread the book and walk all the way back through the dungeon. It's not fun.
Ooh, looks like Andy going for the lower dash in the Popo room. Same with Louie. That's actually a newer thing found by Yuzu, where if you dash lower there, you actually don't activate the top Popos spawn, so they stay still and you don't have to deal with bad RNG.
Okay, and Louie goes a little bit out of his way to grab an extra arrow pot in this room, so both players will have full arrows going into this fight.
And taking 2 hits from the Igor as well.
Yeah, it shouldn't be too bad if you're move cleanly around landmolars, it's shouldn't be a problem. We'll see.
Very nice first cycle from Andy.
Ooh, that third one just got away from him, but it was nearly a 2-cycle.
It looks like Andy finishing with the 3 cycle. I'm not sure if that is 3 or 4 for Louie. I was looking at Andy's screen.
Yeah, same. I think it was probably 3.
Still very, very good Land Molus fights from both runners. That is a very tough boss to optimize.
Ooh,
Andy going for
going.
Cactus Dash. Unbelievable.
Yeah, had to just wiggle slightly to get it, but didn't take a hit at least.
What a gamer. You see Louie going for the conventional Sandman Dash. Doesn't lose too many frames over the Cactus Dash.
Yeah, it's a low enough number that you probably shouldn't be going for Cactus Dash, but, you know, Andy wants those frames.
Alright, so both runners setting up for fake flippers. Basically, in short terms, we're going to be jumping off the ledge with a certain setup, and we're going to be hitting the water the same time we transition the screen to the right, which allows us to swim and avoid a longer pathway, which we call West Side Breeze. It saves about 6 seconds. I was curious what the old man was doing and why he got lost in the cave.
Yeah, if only the text was in English, you might tell us.
Yeah, I have no idea what anything says in these text boxes.
Yeah, me neither. I haven't played the game in not Japanese for quite some time.
Alright, the famous Death Mountain screen with the lovely squirrels and the fallen cabbages. We'll see how it goes for both runners, trying to avoid damage at all costs here because Hera can be pretty tough if you're low on health. Looks like Andy only took 1 cabbage to the face, setting up his spin speed, going pretty well. And Louie taking 1 as well. So you saw both runners enter that portal at the top of the mountain from the right side. They actually entered that on the right side on purpose. It actually sets up a quick warp. Depending on where your camera is located, there are 2 quick warp pixels for every 6. And the cool thing about hitting a quick warp in the overworld is it saves you about a half a second.
Yeah, half a second is a pretty large amount of time for a thing that doesn't really make much sense.
Oh yeah, absolutely. This game in this particular category is so highly optimized that if somebody found something that even saved 5 frames, everybody would be all over it.
And he gets the boom dash first try. Let's see Louie go for it as well.
Boom dash is nice to hit. Just gives you a little bit of break because there's not too many breaks. Nice, Louie hit it too. There's not too many breaks in this run because once you're finally finished with a dungeon, you gotta sit and mash text.
Yeah, I think the longest break is the duck cutscene. That's about it, really. Yeah, both players getting the boomerang dash first try there, which is important because you don't want to hit the switch more than once. It basically loses all of the time that the boomerang strats would save you. Okay, we're coming up on our first bomb jump of the run here. Let's see, there's a few different strats that you can use here. Looks like Andy's going for the sword spin setup. Louis going for the early bomb jump.
Nice. That's the early bomb jump actually isn't too bad. Louis came up a little bit short on the menu buffer, but used a technique where he just hit up and then dashed very quickly, which actually holds Link in place long enough for the bomb to explode you over the hole. Andy doing a good job on Moldorm.
Yeah, I seem to have lost Louis' game feed here.
Yeah, Louis' game feed on my end is buffering as well. And I do apologize early on. I thought I had put my Discord on disturb, so that was definitely the notifications on Fricker's end. So hopefully it's fixed now. All right, Andy using spin speed outside of Hera. We're going to make our way to the Lost Woods, but before we get there, we're going to pull some trees to gain some rupees. We actually need to make sure that we have 110 rupees so that we can get into Palace of Darkness and pay off Kiki. Very, very tight bird kill from Andy there.
Yeah, he had to adjust slightly to kill that bird, but it's important not to get hit, which he pulled off.
Yeah, after the Master Sword, we're going to be pulling another tree towards the south end of Lost Woods. And as long as we killed 4 enemies without getting hit after that first tree pull, the second tree pull is going to net us 80 rupees.
Yeah, both players have their Master Swords now, so it's time to climb the tower.
Yeah, Agham's Tower is kind of a tough one. I mean, like the rooms aren't specifically hard to get through, but there's definitely a lot of RNG that you can get throughout the Agham's Tower.
Yeah, a lot of cool strats in the tower though. Quite a few rooms with some really nice speed strats.
Alright, so we're going to see Andy kill this bird for the 4th kill. He's going to make his way down to the tree and pull the second tree for 4 red rupees. One thing to keep in mind as well, too, is it's very important that both of these runners maintain their sword beams as they go into Agha Tower and throughout Agha Tower. For the most part, sword beams are actually pretty important in this segment, as it does save you quite a bit of time in a number of rooms.
Yeah, for sure. I saw Louis got the arrow drop from the bird there, so that's unfortunate. Those are gone forever.
Yeah. A lot of runners do like to dash kill that bird. If you didn't know, you could actually forget the word that I'm looking for, but you can hold back your prize packs. Manipulate, there it is. You can manipulate your prize packs by dashing through enemies, and basically if you dash through an enemy, it will not advance the prize pack. So we're actually going to do that in the second room of Agha Tower here. These 2 guards actually are part of a fairy prize pack, and we want to dash kill them. Of course, Andy didn't have beams, but as you saw, Andy got the heart and the fairy. Louis is going to dash kill them and it not advance the prize pack, because that fairy drop is going to be very important in Turtle Rock.
Yeah, in about 50 minutes time, we're going to see Andy have a slightly harder time than he needs to.
Yeah, this Dark Key Room maze is extremely tough to get through, especially if you want to maintain your beams, because I swear like 90% of the time these guards will spot you, and it's very tough to get through without getting hit.
Yeah, but it looks like they were pretty kind to Louis there. He got a nice clear path without bats or guards bothering him.
Due to not having beams, Louis was able to go for the key dash. But you will see the spear guards in the additional room to the left of the spear guards. Louis does have a chance to go a little bit faster since he has beams. Very nice spear guard room from Louis.
Right, well, Andy is approaching Aghanim, so we all know what time it is.
And unfortunately, runners cannot hit the reset button here. So Aghanim, basically the gatekeeper of the run. You can lose a ton of time to this boss, and there's just nothing you can do about it. He basically will shoot out energy balls that you have to hit back at him for damage. And if he decides not to shoot out an energy ball, he'll shoot out a blue ball that separates, and that is an additional 6 seconds of time loss.
Looks like that was a gold tower from Louis there.
So the first ball that Aghanim shoots out will always be an energy ball, and the next 3 are 50-50. So we got 1 blue ball on Andy's side so far.
Yep, just 1 in the first phase there, and 1 now from Louis as well.
Looks like I saw a second one from Louis, and a second one from Andy. Only having 2 blue balls is actually not too bad. It looks like Andy gets a third. For getting the third blue ball, Aghanim actually gets an additional lightning cycle, which loses another 6 seconds. So looks like Andy will finish with 3 blue balls.
And Louis gets a third as well there. Okay, looks like it's going to be 3 from both players. So nice and fair.
It's always fantastic to see 2 great runners get the same number of blue balls, just to maintain the competitiveness of the run.
Yeah, exactly. It's nice to not see runs decided by RNG. It's just a shame it wasn't 0 for both instead of 3.
Yeah, one could only dream of the 0. But to be fair, the game always knows. So when you have a very, very bad light world, it usually gives you like 0 or 1. Alright, so we are making our way to the first dungeon in the Dark World, which is Palace of Darkness. But first, we need to pay Kiki the Monkey 110 rupees to open up the dungeon to give us access. What he does with all those rupees, I don't know. And to be noted, if you end up getting hit or taking damage while Kiki is following you, he will run away and you will have to pay him again.
Yeah, fortunately it didn't matter for Andy, although he did have 10 spare rupees if he needed them.
So Palace of Darkness, especially early dungeon, has some interesting routing. You're going to see us picking up quite a bit of keys and mirroring quite a few times. And basically the main reason why we do that is not only is it fast, but also when we mirror, we actually get a restock on the bombs underneath the pots. And at this point, we're basically getting all the bombs that we need pretty much through the rest of the run.
Yeah, both players using their menu to mirror in different places there. Louis used it outside the dungeon to set up the position of Kiki. He moves very slowly, and if you if you like cancel your dash just right, you can make him move up towards you before you approach the tower, the dungeon. So he doesn't spend as long walking towards it.
Yeah, Kiki has an absurdly long walking animation if you separate yourself on that entrance. So we do have one of the coolest tricks of the category coming up. It's called the hammer jump, or the hammer jump. And it is a pretty tough trick. You basically have to position the bomb and place it on a pixel perfect portion of the bridge. And then you also have to place Link on another coordinate, which is also pixel perfect, all the time while the bridge is collapsing. The reason why we do this is because we don't want to get an extra key all the way on the upper right side of Palace of Darkness. So we're just going to use the bomb to clip us through the rail so we can access the big chest much faster. Very nice jump from Andy.
Yep, nice and quick, didn't need any extra menus.
Louis using a nice sword buffer. Oh, trying to get into position before the bomb explodes. Nice.
Wow,
very, very close. That was literally like just last frame that Louis positioned himself there.
Yeah, Louis still lost a little bit of time to all those extra menus, but yeah, at least he didn't fail the jump.
Yeah, failing the jump can be quite punishing because not only are you going to be down a bomb, but you're also going to be down an additional heart.
Oh
so
yeah, chat has noticed here that Louis did not get the key.
Oh no, I didn't even notice that Louis didn't get the key. Oh. I was looking at Andy's screen. Louis must have mirrored, right? Oh, he mirrored early before getting the key. I have definitely done that in a run, for sure.
Yeah, I've done that too, for sure.
Sets Louis back a little bit, but there's plenty more run of this category, so anything can happen. Alright, Andy coming up on the first boss, which is King Helmesor. We need to hit his mask off and destroy it, which takes 17 hammer hits. And I believe what we'll see from Andy here is kind of a newer technique where we're going to utilize spin speed. There it is. So he activates the spin speed state, which actually opens up the hammer hitbox quite a bit and makes the second form of Helmesor much easier. Very nice.
Yeah, very clean fight there. Andy has a decent lead now. But anything can still happen, lots of run ahead of us.
Oh yeah, lots of run ahead of us for sure. Alright, Louis coming up on the turtle run here. Let's see if he gets good turtle RNG. Very nice. That does save quite a bit of time, because sometimes the RNG could be a bully, and the bottom turtles will turn downward, making you go for an extra cycle. Alright, we'll see if Louis uses the same spin speed state technique for Helmesor. Looks like he does.
Yeah, that strat is definitely the standard amongst the top runners now. It's both safe and pretty quick.
Yeah, definitely. Not using the spin speed is definitely optimal, not by much, but especially in a tournament setting and just how much it opens the hammer hitbox and how easy it becomes, it's definitely good to do in this tournament. Alright, so Andy making his way through Pod Overworld. He's going to be coming up on an item dash, which is always fun to do. I love that hammer dash. So he is going to the Grove right now, and he's going to be getting the shovel and the flute. And yes, this guy that he talks to is definitely an anteater. I'm telling you right now.
Looks like Andy hit the quick warp there. Nice work.
Yeah, it looks like Andy hit the right quick warp. As a reminder, there are 2 separate quick warp pixels. He did save the half a second on the right one, but the left one is a little bit better to hit because if you hit the left one, all you have to do is just hold up and shovel, which makes it a little bit easier. Andy getting through the famous spin speed to avoid Usain Bolt, the fastest guard in all of Hyrule. Louis making quick work of the overworld as well.
Yeah, and now Andy hits the one actual break you get in the run, waiting for the flute to activate.
Yeah, that's probably one of the best breaks in the game. I mean, Meyer wall move is kind of lengthy as well, but that one's really good. Yeah, this run just with minimal breaks and how input heavy this game is, and it's a very, very tough run, and it's very optimized.
Yeah, for sure. It's very technically demanding, and yeah, you've got to do it for an hour and a half. It's not easy.
Yeah, especially with minimal mistakes, right?
Okay, Andy coming into Thieves Town now.
Thieves Town is actually pretty straightforward as well. Just a lot of corridors and enemies that you need to avoid. There's a lot of RNG reaction in this dungeon. A couple of rooms coming up that are pretty important is definitely going to be the Hellway. Very, very tough room. There's conveyors, there's spikes, there's Patrick Star enemies, there's anti-fairies. There's a lot going on in a very small space. So there's a specific setup that our runners are going to try to do and hit a pixel perfect dash, which is known as the God Pixel, that will allow them to get through the room. But even if they hit the God Pixel, the RNG might still say no. So we'll see how the run goes for Andy first here. Yeah, so the RNG did not allow Andy to position where he wanted to, but he got through the room very, very nicely.
Yeah, it was a nice adjustment. He obviously overran the initial dash on purpose because he saw where the enemies were.
That grasshopper in particular is a giant bully.
Yeah, the grasshoppers they hit pretty hard too. For innocuous-looking enemies, they can do a lot of damage.
Yeah, a lot of runners will actually get frame roll damage as they dash through that door in the that bomb room, which is super unfortunate. Alright, Andy making his way down to the lower half of Thieves Town so he can rescue the maiden that's locked in the cell. Spoilers, it's a boss.
And you got a very welcome arrow drop from the Zazek in the first room as well.
Oh, Louis getting some unfortunate RNG in Hellway, but getting through the room very nicely. Right, Andy getting the glove upgrade, which allows us to lift very heavy rocks. And also the specific reason that we're doing Thieves Town right now, which is actually not the intended dungeon order, is basically for us to get that glove upgrade to allow us to upgrade our sword much earlier to make the rest of the dungeons a little bit easier.
Yeah, Tempered Sword saves quite a lot of time over the course of the run. It's obviously not required to get it, but we get it because it's faster.
I just want to give Louis a shout out for that amazing hammer menu buffer for the Patrick Star RNG. That was very well played. Andy making quick work of Blind. Now, Blind looks like a tough fight, and casually is an absolute nightmare. But Blind is actually a scripted fight, and as long as you have the same hits and the same movement for timing, the fight will go identical every time, making it pretty simple on a speedrun level.
Yeah, as long as you don't go off script, Blind won't either.
Yeah, once Blind goes off script, it can go south very quickly, especially if you die and you have to do the Blind refight, which means it starts when you're on the bottom of the room. It is an absolute nightmare.
Yeah, there are a few boss fights in this game that just, the longer they take, the harder they get. Like Blind is one, Mothula is one, Cold Stare is one. You just want to get them dead and not have to worry about it anymore.
Alright, so while Andy is breaking into houses and taking some money, we have Louis on Blind. We'll see how the rest of this fight goes. Very nice fight from Louis. So we actually got the 300 chest in the bottom of the shed there, and we're going to get another 300 chest after, and that's going to give us enough rupees for the rest of this run. But in the middle here, we're actually grabbing the dwarf, or the frog in the Dark World, so we can get our sword tempered for a very high-priced 10 rupees.
You did save the guy's life, so, you know, give him a discount.
I guess it's the least he can do, right? This mirror screen to the dwarf actually got changed not too long ago, but it made it a little bit more RTA friendly, rather than coming in here in the Dark World and trying to do frame perfect rock pickups and throws and all that fun jazz. So it's actually saving us a little bit of time RTA wise. Alright, so Andy's got the sword. He's going to go for the infamous fence dash, which everybody knows saves about 45 minutes. So we'll see if he gets it. Ooh, with the bonk. Yeah, it can be a pretty hard thing to do. I know it's just left and A on the same frame, but hitting two buttons on the same frame, especially for me, dude, it's hard.
Yeah, it's deceptively hard, especially one D-pad input and one button.
Alright, well, Louis is getting his sword tempered and upgraded. Andy is making his way through the woods here to head over to the Skull Woods in the Mothula Fight. But first, he's going to be getting the Fire Rod. Nice shoulder push on that statue from Andy. This room can go bad so quickly.
Yeah, for sure, you want to get it right first time. Once the mummies go crazy, you can lose a lot of time there. You also got a bomb drop in that room, which is a nice one too.
Alright, so we're going to have another bomb jump here to get access to the big chest. I'm a huge fan of that sword spin bomb jump.
Yeah, for sure, that's my preferred strat too. It's not that bad and isn't as terrifying as early bomb jumping.
It can be a little bit difficult to learn until you actually know what you need to do and what's happening, but it's definitely a very safe strategy because that spin actually puts you on the very final pixel of the pit, and the spin release saves you from falling, so it's very safe to do.
Yeah, very worth learning. I mean, at first when you try it, you will just walk into the pit a few times, but you get used to that.
Bomb drop on Louis' side too.
Yeah, I don't really know where Louis' at with his bomb count, or if he had to do hammer jump again, but I think he must have picked some extra ones up because he is bombs ahead of Andy at the moment.
Yeah, Louis is definitely sitting pretty for bombs for sure. Nice rod dash on Andy's side. That's such a fun screen to do. Especially when it goes the way you want it to go. And Andy dropping into the Mothula Fight. Now this fight can be very quick or a giant pain in the butt. You definitely want to start the fight out by dashing through Mothula, trying to get the double hit. It looks like Andy did. Finish it off with an extra 2 hits. Very nice Mothula. As you can see, only 1 spike was gone, so it's a very, very fast fight.
Yeah, very clean. Louis down a few hearts on the other side, so he'll be hoping for a similar Mothula Fight, because it can get pretty dangerous otherwise.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely different strats that you can do on Mothula depending on, what his RNG is and if Mothula stays at the top. You don't want to hit Mothula into spikes because the spike damage is just going to override your sword damage to the boss. So we use kind of a few different strategies. Poke dashing is definitely high up there if Mothula stays at the top. You can actually hold your sword out, poke Mothula with a sword, and do a dash to give you basically both full sword swing damage and to not knock Mothula into the spikes. So. Alright, Andy going through the overworld to get ready to go up and get Quake and Flippers while Louis is dropping into Mothula. See how the fight goes. Very clean.
Looks like that was a gold skull lunch from Andy. So that nice Mothula fight was worth something.
Yeah, per Andy splits, it looks like he's minus about 5.5 seconds, so Andy he's on a very good run right now.
Yeah, I mean, with 3 blue balls, he's done some real gaming so far.
The screen coming up on Andy's side could be a little dangerous. This rope can hit you into the wall. It is known as the lottery. Basically, you're lottoing that dash to see if you get hit or not, but gets through it cleanly. Alright, so we're going to throw this rock into the circle for catfish, and we are going to get the medallion, or the Quake medallion.
Yeah, we'll need that one for later because it helps us get into Turtle Rock. And it's most convenient to route it in now because we need the flippers for the next couple of dungeons.
Yeah, King Zora is he's just going to take all of our rupees. He has a very expensive shop.
Yeah, 500 seems a lot for a pair of flippers, but we grabbed 600 from the chest, so he leaves us some to spare.
Louis with a nice spear block from that Moblin on the dash.
Okay, Louis taking the lottery safe there, moving up and dashing through the bushes to avoid getting hit.
Yeah, that's a really good strategy to do. It's one of the main strategies to do in low percent as well. And that dash is actually named after Louis himself. So that is the Louis dash.
So he's obliged to go for it then?
Well, hey, he's got to. He can't not.
Yeah, I mean, you can't, name a strat after yourself and not go for it.
Andy getting into that very small warp very nicely, even though he had some pretty rough Zora RNG, but he did it very, very clean. Now, Ice Palace in this speedrun is actually very short, and mainly because there's a specific bomb jump that we do where we just get to skip half the dungeon.
Yeah, we don't bother with the puzzle in this one.
Yeah, this dungeon casually is a nightmare because you actually have to loop through it twice. I'll say, when I was trying to beat this dungeon as a kid, I definitely did Misery Meyer first, so I could get the cane and figure out this puzzle that I actually couldn't figure out.
Yeah, that's the casual version of the sequence break for sure.
Yeah, can't be bothered. Loop through twice. That doesn't sound like a fun speedrun. Andy making very nice work in the bombable floor room. These jellies can give you very bad RNG. It's a very tough room to do. Alright, Andy coming up on the Ice Palace bomb jump. Kind of just like the hammer jump, he's got to place the bomb on a specific pixel, and then you have to place Link on a separate specific pixel. Or he's just going to try to hover.
Sure. And he had a nice conveyor room before that as well. He used the bonk on the right to set himself up on the right spot.
Now only Andy can hover.
I'm not sure that that's true.
But yeah, good stuff. Hovering is pretty difficult to do. Basically, you have to press A or the dash button, release it one frame, and then press it one frame later, and then release it back and forth. So it can be a very tough trick to do.
No stairway clip from Andy, so not going for all the swag.
Alright, Andy coming up on Cold Stare, which is one of the more dangerous bosses, mainly because the game expects us to have Blue Mail, which is in the big chest of this dungeon, and we skip to go faster. So Cold Stare pretty much hits like a truck, so it can be a very scary boss. And Andy only having 5 hearts, so he can only take 1 Cold Stare hit. He's got to be very careful here. Clutches it out. A little bit of a Cold Stare party, but we got through it. That's the important thing.
Yeah, it was a decent cleanup. Once it's gone wrong, all you want to do is get out of the fight alive.
Yeah, it looked like Andy was trying to go for the double poke strat, which can be pretty difficult because you have to hold the A button to poke all 3 puffs separately. So sometimes if you don't hold that A button or the dash for the poke long enough, you can drop your sword, and then the Cold Stare puffs just start to spread out and go everywhere. Louis coming up on the fight. Also have to be aware of the falling ice. That does 2 hearts of damage as well, while you're trying to maintain killing Cold Stare, so a lot of stuff going on. Louis getting a nice clean fight with a double poke. Very nicely done.
Yep, no problems there. He's gained back a few seconds.
Alright, so it looks like we're going to have a little bit of a route divergence. Andy is going right for Swamp Palace, while I believe Louis will be getting at least the Ether Medallion before he heads to Swamp.
Yeah, I assume just the Ether Medallion. No one wants to deal with the menu and ice rod screen before you've got Hookshot.
Yeah! But yeah, getting the Ice Rod as well will give you an additional menu once you get to Meyer too. Getting the Ether Medallion before Swamp, though, is pretty good RTA-wise, because if we happen to take a hit on Death Mountain, which a lot of the times you can't avoid because of the falling rocks, we don't have to worry about a heart lost in Swamp Palace, because Swamp Palace is pretty straightforward. It is the second dungeon that you're supposed to do in the game, so you don't lose a lot of health there.
Yeah, Swamp's relatively tame. Nothing does that much damage. You just need to avoid taking a lot of hits over the course of the dungeon.
I want to say, I know Ice Rod is about 40 seconds. I don't have a definitive number on the Ether. Maybe around 40 seconds as well.
That sounds about right, maybe slightly longer. Just trying to intuit how long the things seem like they would take.
Yeah, so at this moment, it will appear that Andy looks to have a more sizable lead, but that's just because of the route diversion. So I think that once we get to the bird landing going to Turtle Rock, I think it'll all come together. Now, Swamp Palace is the designated second dungeon of the game, so it doesn't do a whole lot of damage if you get hit here, but there is a lot of enemies, there's a lot of RNG and reaction that you have to do, so even though you don't lose a lot of health, you can take a lot of hits, and basically you just get nickeled and dimed in this dungeon. See if Louis goes for the anti-fairy skip. Oh, he's got the right pixel for it. What a gamer. That is a very, very tough skip to do.
Looks like Louis used a menu there to try and hit the quick warp. I have no idea where that quick warp is, so I can't tell you if he got it or not. I didn't go for that one.
I didn't see the transition, but basically on the outside, if you do that menu buffer to hammer, you just want to line up your shield on like the black line of the right side of the swamp entrance. That'd be the quick warp pixel. Going with the hammer dash through, getting the big key for Swamp. Louis making quick work of these rooms, trying to make up some of the lost time. Oh, Andy getting bought by the Fire Snake on the bottom dash. Fire Snake can definitely be a bully.
Yeah, and he's taken a couple of hits from enemies, but for the most part, it's been quite clean.
Alright, Andy coming up on a room where we actually want to do a technique called hook dash, where we actually do a Y and A press in the same frame as we hook to the pot. That allows us to grab the pot that we're pushing the statue to pretty much on the first try due to the state that we're in, instead of trying to sit there and struggle, like, trying to pick up the pot. I'm sure we've all been in that scenario before.
Yeah, for sure. If you try to do that having just watched somebody else do the room without knowing what the strat is, it doesn't make any sense. It's just impossible.
Yeah, you're just kind of sitting there trying to grab the pot and just going, hello? Alright, Andy going through the restock room. He is good on bombs and arrows. Oh, takes an unfortunate bonk on the door dash. He is coming up on the boss of the dungeon, which is Argus. Andy is going to be going for a strategy which we call the zero cycle. He's going to be using the hook dash again with the sword out. That will give him the chance to give himself the state where the sword actually does slash damage instead of poke damage, and it allows us to get the zero cycle on Argus, which he hits. Very nicely done.
And zero cycle saves a hell of a lot of time, actually.
Yeah, it's about 6 seconds if you get the zero cycle on Argus plus the fire rod quick kill. But yeah, very nicely done on Andy's side. And unfortunately, Swamp Palace maiden text is the longest of the game, so sit back and relax, and we'll see how Louis does here. Louis also sitting very well on bombs and arrows. We'll see if he opts to not grab this arrow pot. Oh, he does, okay. Well, you can't have too much precious.
Yeah, he might be setting himself up to skip the chest after Ice Armors.
Alright, so just an update to everybody watching. Andy is minus 15.2 seconds on his split, so he's having a very good run right now. I know Louis will also go for the 0 cycle on Argus, so let's cross our fingers and hopefully he gets a fast, clean kill. Andy electing to get... Oh no, that's right, I'm sorry. That's I'm mistaken the early ether from Andy to Louis, but he's going to be getting this on the Meyer section now. We'll see if he gets Ice Rod as well.
Nice 0 cycle there from Louis as well.
Yeah, very nice. That's actually a very tough kill to optimize.
Yeah, it looks like Andy is doing all of his chores right now.
I like the word usage of chores instead of shopping.
Yeah, I know it's a controversial topic.
It's a big topic right now amongst the community.
Maybe we should have a vote.
Alright, so about 40 seconds to get the Ice Rod. Andy does it in the Meyer split. We'll see if Louis holds the Ice Rod off until he gets right before T-Rock. Oh, Andy just missing that heart. He wanted that really bad for Meyer 2 coming up.
Looks like that was a Gold Swamp Palace from Louis there, so yeah, we've got 2 gamers going on at the moment.
Hopefully Andy doesn't throw this bird.
Hopefully he does. Okay.
Okay, I'm happy now. I just wanted to make sure. Alright, Andy coming up on Meyer 2, which can be a pretty tough run with all the enemies and whiz robes. Looks like Andy might get the 2 cycle here. There was a strategy to do that room with the fire rod without beams and still go to 1 cycle, but Andy's still getting through that room very cleanly.
Yeah, for sure. 1 extra cycle does not lose too much time. Louis in the room with beams now.
Very nice 1 cycle from Louis.
Yeah, and of course the race looks a little bit closer than it is right now because Andy is ahead by an Ice Rod as well.
Yeah, both runners really trying hard to maintain their hearts in this dungeon, specifically for the boss Vitreous. Pretty much we're going to be losing quite a bit of hearts on purpose to kill the boss, so we got to be very careful in this dungeon. Alright, now that we got the big key, we're going to be making our way back through a few portal rooms, and we're going to make our way to the right side of Misery Meyer to collect the Cane of Samaria from the big chest. Cane of Samaria is an extremely interesting item in this game. Unfortunately, we don't get to see all the fun uses from it in the NMG category, but if you want to see how to break the game in a major glitch category, the Cane of Samaria is pretty nifty.
Yeah, it's absolutely probably the most broken item in the game in that respect.
Ooh, Louis getting a nice boost on the Spark Gamble. Alright, so a trick coming up. You're actually going to see it 3 times here. It's called Spooky. Spooky Action Glitch. And basically, when they came or flew to Meyer, they picked up the rock from the bottom to set a bird variable altitude. And what that's going to do is they're going to maintain that altitude. So that altitude actually coincides with the splash damage of the fire rod. And they're going to use the fire rod to hit spikes and anti-fairies, and it's actually going to hit switches above or in other rooms, which is actually saves about 12 seconds. So it's pretty nifty to see.
Yeah, looks like Andy's hit the first 2 here.
Alright, Andy coming up on Vitreous while Louis finishes the 3rd spooky room. Vitreous, basically you want to get into the acid pool, take damage, utilize your eye frames, and do 3 spins on these eyes, clean them up real nice. And looks like Andy gets the 0 cycle on Vitreous, very nicely done.
Yeah, very clean. He was also down a few extra hearts as well, so it's good to have a clean fight there and not get into scary mode again.
Very nice fight from Louis' side as well. So coming out of Misery Mire here, Andy is going straight for Death Mountain to climb it to get to Turtle Rock, while Louis is going to be going for Ice Rod. So it's going to be about a 40-second difference once he gets that. Louis has an extra heart because Andy did not grab the Sanctuary heart at the beginning of the game. Looks like Andy is still on a very good PB pace run. One of the things that Andy really needs to try to avoid here are the squirrels. They could absolutely ruin your... Oh, going for Waffle House. My goodness, Andy.
Almost like he didn't want to avoid the squirrels.
Yeah, he had exceptional RNG on that Waffle House drive-thru. My goodness. Right, Louis just finishing up grabbing the Ice Rod, and he's going to be making his way up the mountain, while Andy makes his way toward the entrance of Turtle Rock to activate it with the Quake Medallion.
Looks like it was back-to-back gold splits from Louis as well. He had a gold Meyer after his gold Swamp, so it's a shame about the early deficit he found himself in. He's been playing very well since then.
Yeah, for sure. Louis did take a boulder hit, so he is down 1 heart. Not a huge deal, since Louis, as a reminder, did conserve his fairy prize pack drop, while I believe Andy does not have a fairy coming to him.
Yeah, Andy got the fairy in Aghanim's tower, so no backup health here.
Yeah, Andy's got to be pretty careful since he doesn't have the fairy, because in the next room, which is the roller room, we're going to purposely be taking a hit from the roller, which is pretty costly because it's 4 hearts, but it's the main reason why we conserve the fairy in the prize pack. But Andy's just going to have to make work of these rooms without it.
Yeah, he still goes for the same strat there. Possible that he could have gone for the mirror instead. But...
Very smart to grab that heart there since he knew he doesn't have the drops coming. Alright, Andy making clean work of Pokey 1, going into the most famous room of Turtle Rock, which is Chain Chomps. They are definitely in the wrong game. Very good RNG. Those Chain Chomps can just absolutely wreck your run.
Yeah, absolutely. You need to be able to react very well.
Hopefully Louie gets the fairy drop early on before Chain Chomps. If he does, he will have beams, which means he can make pretty quick work of, I want to say at least 3 rooms just by having beams. Will be a little bit faster. Oh, is he? He's a half a heart short from that fairy.
Yeah, he took a hit in the main hub of Turtle Rock, and that was enough.
That's unfortunate. But both players making very clean work of these rooms. We'll see if Andy gets good Pokey 2 RNG. That's about average. Very nice room.
Yeah, and he's managed to get through without taking very much damage here, so the fact that he didn't get the fairy drop is not coming back to haunt him yet, at least.
Louie going for the very tough door key strat with the bottom left Pokey there. Very nicely done. Oh, Andy taking the iframes from the block. Very smart. Instead of trying to push the squeeze there. Still a very, very close run here. Both of these runners just gaming. Andy coming up on the laser skip. The game wants you to have the mirror shield, but that takes too long. So we're just going to place ourselves on a good pixel to dash. And Andy having a little trouble with the beta, but he gets it.
Yeah, that was a little unfortunate, but cleaned it up nicely.
Looks like Louie's going to go for the squeeze here. Very nicely done. Cane dash height. Alright, Andy going into the boss room, which is Trinex. I believe he's going to be taking the backdoor strats. Yep. This probably saves maybe a second over the front door strategy. But Andy cleaning up both of the ice and firehead very quickly. Looks like Louie had a very nice laser skip.
Yeah, now he finishes off Trinex there. So once again, nice tower for him.
Cleaning up both the fire and ice head as well very nicely. The ice head gave him a little bit of downward trouble, but I did a very nice job reacting.
Yeah, Louis elects to use the menu to hookshot there, which Andy did not, to make the last hit slightly easier.
Yeah, for sure. I would only assume that Andy's going to switch to hookshot here to get the hook speed off of the stairs. Shoutouts to Lionel Richie. Ooh, Andy even dropping his sword for the cutscene, saving those frames.
I mean, if you're going to go for Cactus Dash, you have to go for that too, right? Like,
Yeah, makes sense. Andy with a nice sword climb. So both these runners are going to skip that first torch key. They will be getting likely the chest key before Moldorm. Andy may opt to get the double Helmesor kill key because more than likely he will be hovering. Oh, having a little bit of trouble in the room with the boomerang. Getting stuck in the pegs. Alright, Louis just heading into Ganon's tower. Alright, making our way through the portal maze, and we're going to be making our way to Ice Armos, which in Ganon's tower, it forces you to refight all the Light World bosses, but with a little bit of a twist. The first one is going to be Armos again, but this time it's going to be on ice.
Andy just avoiding taking a hit from the anti-fairy in the pit then.
Oh, Louis with the amazing gamer block push there to avoid both the fire snakes. That is a very, very tough to do and definitely RNG dependent.
Nice Ice Armor's kill from Andy. He'll be grabbing this big key and then some arrows and then heading upstairs.
This the Ganon's tower climb here is always so much fun to watch, especially from high level runners. There's just so much RNG in so many rooms and very, very cool tech to watch. It's definitely a treat when everything goes right.
Yeah, it certainly has the potential for some of the highest quality execution.
It's like a clean Mimics 1 and 2 from Andy. Those are very, very tough rooms to get through fast. Nice cleanup on the Ice Armos from Louis' side. And Andy's coming up on the Gauntlet, which is 5 rooms of basically everything the developers can throw at you. Enemies you have to kill to get through the door, conveyor belts, spikes, beamos, and then they start to add in ice. They're so nice.
Yeah, just want to mention that Andy got Ganon Ball Z as well.
Andy having very clean gauntlets so far. Oh no, missing the Zayzak, but still cleans up the room very nicely. Ooh, Louis stopping for the double dash. Also gets a nice clean ending dash on Ganon Ball Z. Right. Andy cleaning up the Landmo 2 fight. The twist there is just the Medusa shooter.
Yeah, Louis making pretty short work of Gauntlet as well.
Louis also having a little bit of trouble in Gauntlet 5 with that red Zayzak. Oh, and Andy getting Fuzda on the bridge. That is super unfortunate. The G4 arrow strat is actually nice to do. It avoids the bad RNG of the Zazak walking all the way right. If he ends up walking all the way right on your dash, the arrow will hit him. So it's always nice.
Yeah, I hadn't seen that one before. It seems pretty good.
Right, as expected, Andy getting the double Helmesor key, so he looks like he'll definitely be hovering Moldorm 2. Alright, let's cross our fingers. Hope he gets it. Oh! Okay, it looks like he's going to be killing Moldorm 2. Andy, how dare you!
Yeah, looks like on this pace he decided not to risk the hover.
It may have been a little hover trouble at first on the Ice Palace bomb jump, but it could also be that, or obviously Andy knows he's on PB pace, so he may just wanted to not chance it.
Yeah, between PB pace and a very close race going on, I definitely don't mind that.
Oh, Louis going for the hover, trying to make up the time. Oh, he takes an unfortunate fall. Looks like Andy may get an early 3-cycle here on Ega. Very nicely done. Louis going for a second try hover. And he gets it. Still a very close race. Could definitely come down to Ganon warps.
It could always come down to Ganon warps. We still haven't seen the infinite Ganon warps yet, but, you know, one day.
Alright, Louis entering Aghanim 2 as Andy is dropping down to Ganon. Making quick work of Ganon with the Tempered Sword. Basically, it's just 12 hits. We're going to chain together Phase 1 and Phase 2 with a Trident Spin. Alright, Andy is entering the Bat Circle using the dash technique, which I absolutely love. Making clean work of Phase 1 and 2 on Andy's side. And Louis cleaning up Aghanim 2. I didn't see how many cycles Louis had.
No, me neither. I was watching the warps from Andy.
I think I only saw one warp on Andy's side, but maybe I missed an additional. It looks like Andy didn't get too many warps here. He's going to be setting up for the torch glitch. Very nice, gets it. All he needs to do is 12 spins, and he is home free.
Yeah, he got the blue Ganon on the free spin, unfortunately, but he's hit the torch glitch, so just, yeah, 12 spins from here.
Alright, Louis entering Phase 2 of Ganon. Looks like Louis is getting some teleports as well. Alright, with the last spin on Andy's side, he finishes up Ganon.
Yeah, down Ganon goes. Unfortunately, it was a little bit of a slow Ganon. Andy's going to miss out on the PB, but still going to win the race. GG's to Andy.
Yeah, GG's to Andy. It was a very, very close race. Very nicely done. Looks like Andy finishing with a 1:25.20.
Yeah, very solid time that. There aren't many faster than that in the tournament so far, I don't think.
Louis just cleaning up the final phase for Ganon, getting the last few spins in. And gets the last spin in there. GG's to Louis.
Yeah, nice run from Louis there. They finished within a minute of each other in the end.
Yeah, very, very close race. It looks like we have Andy in here. GG's, congrats on the win, Andy.
GG's, thanks.
That was a very, very close race all the way through. How did you feel about your run?
I mean, I felt pretty good. Can't really complain with being plus 10 on my PB. But yeah, it would have been super close. I didn't exactly see what happened to Louis and Pod, but I saw he forgot a small key. Without that, this is a super duper close race.
Yeah, he didn't grab the key post hammer jump, just mirrored out and had to go back and get it.
Dang. Yeah, if this wasn't a race for a tournament, I maybe try and hover Moldorm 2 to get a 124, but no way am I doing that in a tournament race.
Yeah, I figured since you got the Helmesor key that you were going to hover, and then you didn't, and then we just kind of marked it up as, you know, possibly on PB pace, so you didn't want to do that in a tournament.
Yeah, there's definitely some things I got to clean up, but we can notes for next time, I suppose. Yeah, all in all, really good run, fun race. Yeah.
Yeah, it was very good. It was very nice to see how close you two were, especially both getting the same number of blue balls. So it was a very, very intense race on both sides.
Yeah, I hope you guys laughed at some of my 2012 strats that are still in my playbook, apparently. Josh RTA was laughing in my chat.
Hey, if they work, they work, right?
Yeah.
Still
yeah,
ended
GG's to Louis.
Yeah, it looks like Louis won't be joining us for the interview, but yeah, very close race. It was very fun to watch. GG's to Louis as well. Rob, do you have anything that you want to say or ask Andy at all?
No, I think we're pretty good.
All right, cool. Any final words, Andy, on the run?
No. If 124 doesn't happen this tournament, I'm quitting this game. Said live on a stream.
Wow, the ultimatum there.
You gotta hold me accountable now.
Somebody clip that.
Yeah.
GG's Andy and Louie, and also thank you very much, Fricker and Rob, for doing commentary tonight. Much appreciated. So we do have some matches tomorrow. I think the first one's going to be at 1 p.m. Eastern. That's Verts 505 versus Chelsea X Lynn, and then the next one is going to be at 3 p.m., which is going to be our own Rob J. Beasley versus Kelsey. And I think there's going to be some other ones coming up, so this is a fun tournament, and I'm glad that ZRSR was chosen to do some of the restreams. So thanks everyone for joining us. Thanks again to my lovely commentators, Rob J. Beasley and Fricker, and also GG's to both our runners. So thanks everyone for joining us, and have a good night, morning, or afternoon. Take care. Bye.